Hello, this is our 20th session and it is the last session of this virtual film production camera section. And in this section we are going to discuss about the color grading and about lookup tables to our final render in Unreal Engine. We are going to start with first understanding a term called as gamma. What is this gamma? We already know that the camera sensor is going to generate current based on the intensity of light, and this current represents the amount of intensity, whether it is white, black or medium gray or light gray or dark gray. This is known by the intensity of light. If you prepare a graph of this intensity versus grayscale, here in this graph, if you take the first example here, we call this as a linear graph, and this is how all camera sensors are going to recognize color. So as the intensity increases, the color is going to change from black to white. If 100 watts represent white, then 50 watts will be exactly 50% gray. This we call it as a linear RGB, and all our camera sensors work on this principle. In case of human eye, we are not going to actually convert the intensity into color in this linear scale. In our eye, the graph will look something like this. So here what happens is, the exact 50% gray is not achieved at 50 watts light, but it will be achieved at somewhere at 18 watts light. That is, 50% gray is achieved at 18 watts light, meaning that you have this kind of curve wherein the intensity of the light initially in the dark area, you will have more of the gray area. Within 20 watts of light we will cover this 50%, and 20 to 100%, the remaining 80 watt light is going to represent the remaining 50%. And this curve we call it as the sRGB, and because of this we are able to identify colors better in mid-tones and in darker areas. We have to now convert this linear RGB into sRGB. When you see the picture in your monitor, in your television screen, in your projector or in the cinema screen, we want to convert this linear RGB into sRGB. And when we want to convert this linear RGB into sRGB, we are going to use a reverse graph, and we are going to multiply this linear RGB signal coming from the camera sensor by a particular value which is represented by this graph, and this graph is what we call as the gamma. Now, if you are coming from the previous session in an order, if you have completed the previous session, then you can directly start with Unreal Engine project. But if you are not finished the previous project and directly coming to this session, then in the video description, if you come down, if you click more, you have one Patreon link here. And if you click on this link, this will open a Patreon page, and in this page, if you scroll down, you have attachment. You have to download this camera settings.zip and metahumans.zip. If you have already done it, you have one last file here, camera settings add files for grading imperfection. Click on this. So once it is downloaded, come into your Unreal project file, that is Unreal project in my machine, and here you can come and paste this file. If you have downloaded camera settings.zip, unzip it and then unzip metahumans.zip file, and you will get a folder called metahumans. Take that folder and inside camera settings, inside content, inside int vc, and inside this paste the metahumans folder. Then you can come back here to the project, and we have just now downloaded this camera settings add files for grading imperfections. You just extract all these files, and once you have extracted it, the very first file here is the map file, module_7 umap. You just take this, cut this, and come into camera setting, content, int vc, and in maps you have main, and inside main come here, paste it and replace it. Then after this, take this module_7 UAZ, this is the sequence file, cut this and come into int vc sequences, and in main come and paste this and replace this. Copy this camera rig shot from here and then come into sequences, that is in int.vc sequences folder, right click and paste it, and if it asks to replace the files, and now you have copied everything and you are ready for this session of the project. I am going to come into my Epic Games launcher, double click to launch it. I will come into the library Unreal Engine, and now I will select this camera settings project, double click to open this. So wait till the project gets opened. Now once the project loads, you have some warnings, clear this, close this and come over here and choose no, and then right now you have opened module underscore 2, come into content drawer, content int vc, and here in maps come into main and select the module underscore 7 map, double click to open this. So once this is open, if you come into this clapboard icon and you can open this camera rig shots root, this is the sequence that we were working on, and you can click here to enable this or off this to disable this. So right now we are in the perspective view. I want you to just right click here and press S and come out of this building, and you just see the surrounding here. So what you are seeing in the surrounding is a night view of a city. And what is this image that you are seeing is, this is called as a HDRI map. This is a 360-degree image that we use to create environments. Say for example, if you are actually shooting something in a house, you have a house set like this, but say for example this house is placed in a street in Delhi or in a street in Mumbai. Say if this house is in Marina Drive, you can take a 360-degree photo of Marina Drive and place it all around so that the scene inside the house appears to happen just in the background of Marina Drive. So to achieve this, we are going to add this special type of light component which we call this as HDRI backdrop. If you come into the outliner, I will come to this module, press shift to close everything, then again click here, open int vc here, and if you come here in lighting, you have one folder called 3_backdrop. If I open this, there is one HDRI backdrop light. If I select this and if I delete it off, you can now see that entire background is gone, except our set, nothing is visible. So to add this, I can come into the plus icon over here, and you have one place actors panel here. If I click on the place actors panel, all this will be available to me in a panel here like this. And in this panel, you have recent, basic, lights, and here I will come into the lights. You have different types of light, and I am going to select this HDRI backdrop, and I am going to just drop it into the scene, and as soon as I drop it, you can see how the environment is created. See, now I will come into the location and I will reset it to 0 so that it is exactly at the center. Now actually what is this is, if I just press F and if I show you the entire thing, this is just a small spherical tomb like structure. The inside wall is given with this image texture. This is how HDRI maps. I will come into this int, I will select some character, press F so that I will come into the house, and now you can see in the windows, you can see this scenery. Now coming back here into HDRI backdrop, now I added this HDRI backdrop, see it is here. I will again right click, choose move to, and I am going to bring it into 3 lighting. Inside that I have this 3 backdrop. I will add it inside this. How I can change this is, in HDRI backdrop details, if you come down, you have one cube map here, and here I can just click here and select any of the cube map. See, you have different maps here. See, if I select Ottoman holiday, so now this is inside a forest type region. See, this building now you are seeing is inside a forest region, and you can see the lighting also changes along with it. And similarly, now if I select this Circus Maximus, you have this city ground here, somewhere here, and all around you are seeing a city background in the evening. then I can choose any of the background. You have HDRI, free city, night. So this was the thing that we had used last time. Now I am going to come here and use a daylight. So I will come to the first map here, approaching storm. I am going to use this, and now I have added a HDRI map, and you can also see here the building is also illuminated. See here, previously all these were dark. See, this was dark because you had no light. Based on the HDRI image, our entire building will be illuminated, and this is the easiest way to add lights in Unreal. So later on, once we have added it, I will now come into the scene here. Now coming into the sequencer, I will enable this camera here, and I am just going to move this and come to a scene here where they are both are in the center, and now I will press G here to hide all the cameras. Now the next thing we are going to work on is to add this color grading. Before we enter into color grading, I am just showing you a reference image over here, and this image we call it as the image that has been shot in D-log. What is this D-log is, whenever we do the recording of the image in the camera and we decide to add color and post-process it later, we are going to record it in a format so that you get the maximum detail in the image from all the shaded area here. For this we use this D-log format, wherein the image looks very dull and it is not colorful, but we are going to use this as the base image to do our color grading. Even in Unreal, before I start doing the color grading, I want this image to be in a D-log format. So what is this D-log format is, if I come back to Photoshop and if I come into this adjustment curves and if I show it to you, you have a layer here which is called as the black area, and this is the brightest area. This brightest area we call it in DaVinci Resolve as shoulder, and we call this darkest area as toe, and this curve which represents the midtone we call it as slope. Now I am going to start doing the color grading with my first camera. If you come into 8 camera rigs in rig 1, this is cam rig 1. All this color grading is controlled in post process. So now if I click on post process and come into post process, and here if I scroll down and come down, you have an option here called film. You can see here this option film, open it, and here you have 5 values: slope, toe, shoulder, black clip and white clip. I am going to enable toe, and I am going to set this value to 0, and immediately you can see this image has turned into a D-log image. So similarly, even for shoulder, I am going to set this value to 0. So once I have set this value to 0, now I have a D-log image, and this image has to be now color graded. I need this clip or a reference from Unreal to open it in DaVinci Resolve. See, normally we come into this perspective, and if you scroll down you have high resolution screenshot, but instead of using this, if you are a coder or a programmer who loves to use command lines, then actually in Unreal, if you come down, you have a command line terminal through which you can enter your own command, and you have the default CMD format where the commands will be taken in C++ format, and another, if you want to enter Python command, you can use Python here. Right now I will use CMD, and here if I just type high res, you can see high res short command available. I will press space, and the parameter I have to give for this is the size 1920 into 1080. I will set the size, and then if I press enter, then immediately you can see a screenshot has been created, and if I click on this link, you can now see this is the screenshot we took, and using this screenshot we are going to do the color grading. And for this color grading, although you can do color grading in Unreal, we are going to use another specialized software for color grading, and that is DaVinci Resolve. Come into your browser, and if you type DaVinci Resolve, the very first link takes you to DaVinci Resolve 20 page, and here you can download the software freely and install it. Now in case of Unreal Engines, we cannot load LUT or the .cube files directly into Unreal Engine. So, to use this LUT tables, we are going to do a workaround. So, actually in your Google search, if you just type Unreal LUT, there is a first link which clearly explains you about how to use these lookup tables. And if I click on this, they have provided one color neutral LUT, one image they have provided. What we have to now do is select this image, right click and choose save images, and I am going to save this with the same name. I am going to save this. This is the reference image that we have to use now. Now I am going to launch DaVinci Resolve. This is version 20. You can click on new project here, and I am going to call this as color grading, and then I am going to create a new project. And in this project, first I will come into this media tab and import the media. The very first media I am going to take is this RGB 16:1.png, and the other media in D Unreal project in my camera settings saved inside the screenshot in window editor. We just now took the screenshot image. I will also drag and add it into our scene. Here in DaVinci Resolve, next I am going to come into this edit tab, and in the edit tab I will first select this high risk screenshot.png file, right click, and I am going to choose create new timeline using selected clip, and I am going to use it, and I am going to switch off project setting. Now in format, this is in 4K. I will use the timeline of 1920 into 1080, and other things you need not worry, just click create, and I have added the image over here. So, to start doing color grading, I will come into the color tab here, and inside the color tab you have many lookup tables available freely and also in paid versions. And you can see here, if I click on LUTs here and if I open it, I have so many LUTs available here. On the right hand side, you are seeing this node. If I press Alt plus S, this gets duplicated, and in the second node, I am now going to add any of my LUT. So, say for example, I will come into Blackmagic design, I will choose this Blackmagic REC 209, and if I add it, you can see now this LUT has been added. I will again press Alt S, and here I am going to do some color changes. So, for that, if you come down here, we are going to make all the changes to this coming into our curves. So, in the curves, right now YRGB, all the colors are on, and in this I am now going to set the highlight area. As I move it, it becomes bright. I will leave it as it is, and here somewhere in 20% here, I am just going to click and I will slightly drag it down to make it a little darker, and I will come here and I will make it a slightly brighter to add a little amount of contrastness. Then I am going to take individual color. For example, I take the red color, and in red color, in case of shadows, I want this red color to be less. As I drag it down, as I decrease red, its opposite color cyan is going to become prominent. So, I will just reduce it a little, and then here I am going to slightly, or I will leave it as it is. Then I will come into green color, and in green I will slightly increase it a very little in the shadow area, and in the highlight area I am going to reduce it a little so that it turns slightly yellowish. Then I will come to blue, and since it is evening, I will just add a little more of blue color here. So, in highlight area, and in shadow area also I will just make it slightly bluish. And also, if you come into the tab here, you have one option here called as color temperature. So, you can see the color temperature, and I can set the color temperature here. I can move it to the left to make it yellowish, or I can make it negative to make it bluish. So, I will slightly make it bluish like this. Once I am happy with this grading, I will now come into the edit tab, and next to this clip, I am going to add this RGB table that we downloaded from the Unreal website. And once I add it here, one thing I want to set here is select this, and here in this video inspector here, if you scroll down, you have retime and scaling, and in scaling I will come here and choose stretch, and this entire thing stretches full 1920 into 1080. We have applied the color grade to this first clip. So if I select this clip, and now if I press Shift plus D, this is the original clip. Now the color grading has been disabled. Now if I again press Shift plus D, it has been applied. I have to apply all the effects and grading I have applied to this clip has to be transferred to this clip. So for that, DaVinci Resolve, we can do it in just one click. So for that, I will come into this color tab, and in this color tab now, this is the second clip you are seeing here. See, if you enable this clip, this will be open, and I will select the second clip which has no grading applied, and just bring your mouse on the first clip here and click with the middle mouse, and as soon as you click with the middle mouse, you can now see all these settings are transferred over here, and that's it. We have applied the grading to this, and now next I have to come into my edit tab, and I have to take one of this frame, render it as PNG and take it into Unreal. So for that, I will bring it somewhere on this clip here. I am going to press I to mark an in point, and then here I will move this by just one frame. It is 620 now. Right arrow key, it moves by one frame, and I am going to press O, and you have the in and out mark to this frame. I will come back here to the delivery tab, and in this I am going to name this as my color grade, and then in the location I am going to choose any of the location over here. Say I will come here, and in Unreal Filmmaking I am going to save this. In the format, use the PNG format and leave all other thing default as it is. Click add to render queue, and then click on render all. You can now see that you have two images created. See, this is the output image that we have got from DaVinci Resolve. Now I am going to right click on this, and I am going to rename this as my color grade, and I am going to use this now in Unreal Engine. I will quit DaVinci Resolve. Now coming back to Unreal Engine, I will come into this content drawer, and here if you come into content int VC folder, there is already a folder created called as LUTs. So I am going to open this LUTs folder, and inside this LUTs folder I am now going to import my PNG image that we exported from DaVinci Resolve. So for that I will right click, come here, import to current folder, and right now in my Unreal Filmmaking folder I have this my color grade.png file. I will select this, and I am going to open this. Now once the import is done, I will double click to open this, and this opens in the textures window. Now we have to do two corrections here before we use it. The first is in level of detail here you have MIP general setting, and in this choose the option no MIP maps, and in texture group instead of world here, click here and select color lookup table, and after you make these two changes, come here and save this file, and then close this. Now coming into our camera, that is I will come here, press shift and close it, again I will open it, and in camera rigs we were working on this rig 1 camera. I will open this, I will select cam rig 1, and now if I move down in post process, if I come down, after we have set this toe on shoulder, above this film you have this miscellaneous setting, and in this miscellaneous setting you have color grading LUT. I will click on this and here select the LUT we just now created, that is my color grade LUT. I am going to select it and immediately you can see the color grade has been applied. So now if I play the clip, you can see it is playing with this grade. However, if I go to shot 2 number, the grade is gone because I have to do the same thing with camera rig 2. Come here, choose here, again I am going to select this my color grade and apply it. However, you are seeing this color difference, it is appearing different because I have to come down here in film, I have to enable toe and shoulder and both I have to set it to 0. Okay. Now the same thing I have to do it even for this rig 3 camera. I will apply the rig my color grade and then I will move down. So rig 3 I have to move to the third shot here. This is the third shot and here again I have to enable toe and shoulder and set this value to 0. For the fourth shot also, the crane shot, I will close this, come into the rig crane 4, I will open this, I am going to select this cine crane and even here enable color grade LUT and I am going to select my color grade and then both in toe and shoulder I set the value to 0. Close up, we had used 2 cameras. So if you close this and come up in the cameras here, we had used this CU tray and CU Java. CU tray I will select it, move down and even in this case if you come down here I will enable color grading LUT and I will select my color grade and then set toe to 0 and also shoulder to 0. And finally, I will select the Zeva camera also, select CU underscore Zeva camera also. If you move it, this is the final camera. Here also I will come down here and I am going to select color grading LUT and I am going to select my color grade and then set toe value to 0 and shoulder value also to 0. So all our shots are now ready. Now I will go to file and choose save all to save this. Okay, with this we are going to conclude our 20th session where we discussed about how to change the environment using the HDRI backdrop light and also we explored how to use color lookup tables in Unreal Engine. We have one last session that is left over to add some more imperfections like blooming light, glows and other things, and this we are going to discuss in our last session of this cameras. Let us meet in our next session. Thank you.